Yo, what is up? Hope you're doing well, and welcome to module number 6. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of purposeful relationships and connections, how that ties into meaningful success. Meaningful relationships can serve as a cornerstone for personal growth, fulfillment, and overall well being because the truth is that humans are social creatures, bro. We need communities to survive and really thrive. In our evolutionary history, humans could not have survived alone. And even if you go back past farther, when you look at apes and animals, they also survive and thrive within communities. This is likely one of the key reasons why a lot of people in today's world feel more lonely and isolated than ever before, even though we're more connected than ever before. We spend more time working, scrolling through social media than we do spending time with our friends and family. And that's just the system that we have built in this current society. The sad truth is that we can't completely devoid and renounce this entire system and run away. But what we can do is be more intentional about building meaningful and purposeful relationships with the people around us. And of course, this goes beyond just the relationship with a significant other. We're also talking about family members, relatives, your friends, co workers, and most important of all, your relationship with yourself. To truly decipher what meaningful relationships mean to you, you're going to have to ask yourself the questions of what makes a relationship more meaningful for you. In fact, take a minute, pause the video down. Pause the video now, jot down any notes you have on what are some aspects, what are some traits of a relationship that make it feel more meaningful to you. Go ahead, write it down. Hopefully you have. And while this is a subjective answer, I think that there are core traits like mutual respect, trust, empathy, and shared core values that serve as a foundation for any sort of a healthy relationship. We also know from research studies that there are many psychological benefits in such important and meaningful relationships, and that's improved mental health, increased happiness, and a sense of belonging, which then truly reflect in your personal and your work life. My personal experiences with friends or creating connections is it's quite complex, as I'm assuming it is for you as well, and that's why we're here. When I was younger, it was always, and even now, it's always easy for me to talk to people because I've developed such emotional intelligence of being able to recognize my own emotions but also hold space for others, and especially leading workshops and diversity initiatives in undergrad and even before in high school, spending my time at different jobs, working with many different age groups. I was a camp counselor at some point, but I also worked with people who were like 40 plus years old, like were way older than me. Overall, though, I find it easy to make or to talk to people, but what I don't find easy is finding meaningful connections. And I'm someone who has, even though I know people, I still have a very small circle that closely know me, but it's always very meaningful. I'd never have the most amount of friends, I'm never the most popular person in any situation, but all the connections that I have are genuinely deeply meaningful to me because not only am I able to provide some value in their lives, they're able to provide some value in my life as well. And even when they're not, the connection still feels meaningful. And that's the that's the overarching goal for me when I'm seeking out meaningful connections and building a community. I want to be able to connect with this person on a much deeper level that transcends just work. Like, I don't want to just know what you do for work, what are your interests, what are your passions. Like, no, dude, I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know what makes you feel alive. I want to know what truly enriches your soul, that makes you go, damn, I'm so grateful to be alive. That's just me though. And some of the strategies for building and maintaining such strong, purposeful connections, because honestly, it's not easy, especially when you're a busy person like me. Like, it's just not easy to have everything that you have, do everything that you do for your work life, for your family life, or for your projects, and still have the time to build this sort of community of people around you. And there's a lot that goes into it. First thing that I want to mention is active listening. Be present in conversations. And this is something that builds mutual trust, it builds understanding. When the other person is speaking to you, don't just be looking around or be spaced out. Like, look in their eyes, make eye contact, hold eye contact, show them that you're listening by nodding or being like, mm-hmm, like, I hear you. And don't just start interjecting your opinions or thoughts right away. Like, let this person finish, let this person speak. Active listening means holding space so that the other person keeps expressing what they have to say. Now, of course, some people go too crazy with this, which is why, like, there has to be a balance. But what I mean, or what the one of the classic examples that I'm thinking of, is that in the past, in my significant other relationships, sometimes I was so focused on problem solving that I didn't even give my partner the space to fully express how they were feeling in that moment. And that's something that I'm very cognizant of now, and I'm realizing that my relationship with women specifically has changed so drastically in just the past 2 years that I'm able to hold more space for my significant other or the person that I'm seeing, and be able to hold my emotional responses to me. And the usual strategy that I employ now is I ask the other person, would you rather me just listen, or would you rather me give you advice and my thoughts? This is something that you can develop over time, and it will truly, truly enhance the quality of your interactions with anyone that you're speaking to. Authenticity, being genuine and vulnerable. This means that you're you. You just have to exist. You don't have to try to say the perfect thing. You don't have to try to steer the conversation in a certain direction. All you have to do is just be. You just have to be yourself. And I know it sounds corny and cheesy. Now I'm saying it out loud, like I'm smiling, I'm like, what the fuck? But you have to be authentic, because when you're authentic, when you're someone who's opening up and just expressing your thoughts without having to filter yourself a lot, naturally, I promise you, the other person will mirror that same energy. I should also add, all of these strategies and tips fall under the assumption that the other person is also someone who's willing to do that kind of work for meaningful relationships and connections. Of course, it's a two-way street. If you're the only one who's doing it, chances are you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to feel like you put in more effort into a relationship than the other person. So you got to make sure that this is something that's built upon mutual understanding, that the other person is also reciprocating the effort and intention that you're putting in. And then we have the topic of consistency. It's hard to be close friends with someone that you don't speak to on somewhat of a frequent or regular, consistent basis. Of course, sometimes you meet up with old friends and it feels like nothing has changed, but the truth is things have changed. And you're a different person than what they knew. Unless you're not growing, but you're watching this video. I already know that you're someone who wants to be a better version of themselves. Otherwise, you wouldn't even make it this far into the course. I promise you, there's something in you that's pulling you towards your higher self. Listen to it, honor it, and understand that when you're trying to develop a relationship, a friendship, consistency is going to be something that's important, just like how it is important on working on your goals. Then shared experiences, do things together with this person, build memories together. And the key core concept here is that we don't always remember what people tell us or what they say, but we remember how people make us feel. That is so important. When you think about the people you love the most, which came to your mind right when as I said that, you're not just thinking about what they say or what they do, you're thinking about how you felt in a moment that you shared with them. And the reason for this is because our brain is very good at recording memories that make us feel emotional responses, whether that's really, really good, a high, or whether that's really, really bad, a low point. These are like truly, when you go through such emotionally charging experiences, they get imprinted onto your brain, like in your body and to an extent to your in your soul. So when you're sharing experiences with someone and you're building something with them, it's just a completely different kind of experience than if you were to just chit chat with them. There needs to be a balance of all. Of course, another thing to mention is to express gratitude and appreciation for that other person. Like, don't just be waiting for perfect moments to celebrate or show the other person that you care. You got to be doing that on somewhat of a regular basis, regardless. The last thing is healthy boundaries, because that ties into how you're going to be able to do all those other things that I just mentioned. Because healthy boundaries are going to allow you to be your true self. And if this is something that you have difficulty with, then there's a lot of unpacking to do for yourself. Of course, and this goes back to our previous module where we talked about overcoming insecurities, fears, and self-doubts. So you have to ask yourself, why am I afraid to set boundaries with this person? Or what is holding me back from setting boundaries with this person? But the main thing is that healthy boundaries create a strong foundation for any sort of relationship, because if you're not fully able to express your needs to the other person, then the more important question is that whether this person truly genuinely belongs in your close circle or not. And that's a lot on outside relationships. I want to transition into yapping about the most important relationship, and that's the relationship with yourself. What I mean by this is that you're never alone. Like, you're never lonely, or you shouldn't ever feel lonely, because you have divine presence inside of you. Whether you see it as God, whether you see it as energy, whether you see it as the universe, whether you see it as your higher self, it's there. It's there. And I know I felt a tingle when I said it, so hopefully you did too. But this relationship with yourself is important and encompasses discerning which voice or which thoughts in your head and your body are yours versus which ones were put and placed in there by society, conditioning, and other people. In order to truly live a life that's meaningful and fulfilling for you, you need to be able to figure out what your core values are. And a big step in that is developing such a strong connection with your inner self that you're able to separate, okay, this is what I truly believe and think. This was a thing that was placed onto me by fears from other people. And I'm going to choose to listen to myself even though this thought is there. I feel crazy opening up about this, but one of the things that I really had to work through was fears that were put in place in my mind and body through my parents. And even though they I recognized that my parents were coming from a place of safety and wanting me to be safe. Some of the fears that I got instilled with were not things that I really necessarily had to carry. Those were things that were necessary for their survival and for them to navigate their situations. But my situations are not the same. And this is something that I've recently had to also let go of. A big portion of this comes from self awareness. It's important to recognize your own needs, your own values, and your own emotions over what other people are trying to feed you. We're surrounded in a world of consumption where everything is competing for our attention. Social media, people, work, school. And you need to have the self awareness to listen to yourself and recognize what is coming from internally you versus what coming from other sources. The next thing is self-compassion. You gotta treat yourself with the same love, same effort, same respect, excuse me, and the same validation that you give to other people. If you're not willing to do that for yourself, then how are you ever expecting to strengthen your relationship with your own self? It requires effort, and it requires that self-compassion where give yourself the same time and effort and intention that you're giving to others. It begins with you. You can't pour from an empty cup, so you need to fill your cup first. And when your cup is so full that it starts to overflow, then you don't even have to try to give to others. It just happens so naturally and spontaneously. And this ties into how your relationship with self, when you strengthen that, you also improve your capacity to connect with others because of your authenticity. The more I open up to people, the more people open up to me. And I'm sure you have seen that trend in your life as well. This, of course, includes reflection, regular reflection, a lot of reflection, and also solitude, which means spending time with yourself, deliberate time with yourself and your thoughts. And these are solitude and introspection, the combination of the two is so necessary to deepen your relationship with yourself, and I strongly urge you to do so. Life is truly a mirror of your internal state, and the more you work on bettering your internal state, the more you will see that reflected in your external reality and the types of people, opportunities, and experiences that you then end up attracting. To run down an overall gist of increasing the ability to connect with others and with yourself, practice empathy. Be open-minded to consider other people's perspectives and experiences and realize that they have different experiences than you, which means that you have to take yourself out of your shoes and place yourself into theirs. Quality time. Make sure you're offering people presence. In a world where most people are checked out mentally, and you can tell this when you're speaking to people, the best thing that you can offer is your time and your attention and your full presence. Like, just be there with them. Then we have acts of kindness, appreciation. Make sure you're expressing how you truly feel about a person to them. Now, instead of waiting, one of the biggest regrets that most people have is not expressing that they love someone or they appreciate someone before they're gone. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm a big proponent for expressing your feelings. And lastly, intent. Intent matters so much. Whenever you're intentional about things, I'm telling you, you'll naturally direct your energy and effort towards it. The combination of all of the things that I've mentioned and we've discussed in this video are crucial in helping one figure out what meaningful relationship means to you and how you're actually going to build that in your life. So for the action step in this video is to reach out to someone that you value and strengthen that relationship with them through a meaningful interaction or conversation or an act of kindness. Whether that be texting one of your friends that you're grateful for them because of XXX, or whatever they did for you, or something that you're thinking about, or telling someone you love them and why, or one of the things that you love about them, whatever it is, do that. Literally just do it right now. You can shoot a text to someone and reflect on how this interaction, first see how they respond to it, and then reflect on how this interaction makes you feel and what you learned or what you can learn about deepening your connection with self and others. That wraps up module number 6. In the next module, we'll dive deeper into the idea of health from a holistic perspective, which stretches way beyond than just physical health, because that's only one aspect. I'll see you all there.